See, pricing of employee stock options. So employee compensation through stock options is a cost to the organization and needs to be expended in financial reports, which has to reflect the true value of the firm always. So a stock option gives an employee the ability to purchase specific number of shares for of his company on a future date. On a future date for pre-price, which is known as grant price, or it's also called as strike price. So this price is usually decided based on the market price of the stock on the date the option is issued. That is what the strike price is. So every stock option has 4 to 5 years of the vesting period usually. So as a practice, companies during this vesting period, proportionately they will transfer stocks to the employee's credit where they can sell also. So if an employee leaves the job within the period of definitely he has to lose that stock of while he is leaving the company. So that stock options depending on the vesting period. So till the end of the vesting period, the employee has to retain with the organization to get the benefit, to reap the benefit of that particular stocks. This is what the concept. So only after that vesting period, these options employees can be treated as shareholders. So here the challenge, which is greater extent retaining talents is the greatest challenge. So for this concept, these employee stock options will add more strength. So from the employee's point of view, if we see, stock options are always better than compensation when the market price of stock books, right? For this year, compensation may be benefit to the 10,000 for an employee. For example, if he was provided with this book, obviously it increase, which is more than 10,000 per year. But if it get decreases, what's the choice of, so what would be the case of the employee? So however, the employee has to accept that decrease. So till it gets increase, he has to be with the company till that vesting period. This is what the concept of, this is what the strengthen of ESOPs, employee stock options. So we have some restricted stock options. If we see the types of stock options and all, restricted stock options, we have a choice of this. This allows an employee to retain some value till the stock price reduces to zero. This is what the case when it comes to restricted stock options. So unlike these stock options, in case of restricted stock employees, actually owning the shares is really a good benefit. That is, that will incentivize the employee to join with the company. That is, acts like a motivation. So this ESOP's option is preferred by majority, that's premier companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Dell, ITC, Hindalco, Infosys. Likewise, we have many companies, Indian and abroad, that means multinational companies, which are highly providing these packages, that means these options to the employees towards compensations. So in continuation to this, we have types of the stock options. Here we are going to discuss about three different types of stock options. First one is incentive stock options. The name itself is deriving that based on the performance or performance track record, the stock options will be remitted. That means will be credited to the employee's account. Second one is non-qualified stock options and restricted stock options. So in case of the incentive stock options, usually what is the case is the employees has to pay tax only when they sell such options, when it comes to incentive stock options. But in case of non-qualified stock options, employees has to pay higher tax if the difference between the market value and the grant price is more. Hope you understood the concept. You want me to repeat? Non-qualified stock options?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. So in case of restricted stock options, earlier already we talked about that. Employees get a certain number of shares they can sell once the company meets the certain goals. That means after the vesting period. Here the employee is allowed to sell the shares. But incentive stock options is also one of the same, but here the tax something is varying. Labor markets and employee benefits. So labor markets earlier already we discussed the concept of labor markets wherein the labor market is measured of those people who are employed in the market as well as the people who has the potential to employ but still so from the perspective of labor market the total wage concept is analyzed in demand supply framework. This point also we discussed earlier, but traditionally the compensation management practices of different Indian organizations have focused on attracting, retaining, developing and compensating employees. So here the Indian organizations are somehow we can say they are ignoring labor market practices. This is not only the practice of India, most of the developing countries are going with this kind of the practices. So here the labor policies of the government, labor laws, still they are playing major role, but however, with the increase of economic activity and regular increase in the competition between the organizations, here employee retention has the is being the crucial issue. So when globalization has entered in the scene, mobility of labor was increased. So many of the talented employees are changing their jobs most frequently as being there they have good talent and they are flying to another countries to work with different organizations. They are moving across the globe. But all these factors are now compelling the organizations to focus on labor market issues. So gradually when it comes to designing compensation, which keeps this matter of demand and supply of labor, this is being now the corporate practice. Because when it comes to compensation, this labor market perspective has to keep on mind every time. So this is what happening. So some of the discriminatory practices when it comes to labor markets and employee benefits, these are few discriminatory practices on compensation, which is one is compensation and benefits are not diversity neutral. That means here again is the declared policies of the government of India regarding diversity neutral compensation and benefit practices, data analysis indicating wage differentiations between genders, caste, religion. So these are being the practices when it comes to compensation, deciding the compensation and benefits. Second one is compensation and benefits differentials across educational groups. because the segmentation of labor market in India is evidencing a syndrome. That means majority of the private sector is going with the educational groups. Either it is in private or public sector, even in the departmental undertakings. Here, educational groups are playing a wider role with higher level of education are more covered under employee benefits than the workers with lower educational levels. This is really a challenge, and we can discuss this with one more example. IITs, IIMs, those are the premier institutions. If we look into the premier institutions, you people are pursuing PGDM and someone will pursue PGDM or PGP from IIM. Obviously, who will be picked first by organization? There is no second choice. Obviously, the first choice would be IIM graduate, right? So this is the practice is continuing in Indian organizations, not only Indian organizations across the globe, that groups in educational institutions or educational practices being influencing the labor markets. And next one, industry-wise compensation and benefits differentiates. These are the one more differentiation. So this phenomena is evident across the industries and even within the same industry also. For example, if we see, we can find the gap in the employees benefits program between the manufacturing and mining. They do have some benefit programs, and mining industry will have different benefit programs. And if you compare between the public utility service industries and some other private companies, again it will differ. The employee benefits would be differ between these two companies. So likewise, we can compare many differentiations in different industries. There is no common, that means when it comes to employee benefits upon the risk, because earlier if we see manufacturing, why the difference between employee benefits in manufacturing and mining? Obviously when it comes to mining, the risk is more. Of course, we do have risk in every job, even in the manufacturing. But when it comes to mining, the risk is comparative, calculated risk will be there. That's what these people are providing with extra benefits. So, both the sides will have some pros and cons. And finally, if you look into the compensation and benefits differentiation between occupations. So, Indian labor market always also discriminates compensation and benefits in terms of occupational groups. Occupational groups in sense, doctors will have some compensation benefits, lawyers will have something, engineers, teachers. So depending on the occupation, the employee benefits will be differed. And we can find at the same time differential benefits in majority of the public sector units, that we can see differentiations depending on the caste also. So employee benefits would be differed depending on the caste, religion, as our first point is that. So if someone is having some, this is not the right platform to mention, that's according to the caste, those people are getting benefit more as they
And
are.
like lower caste people get more benefited than the higher caste people.
Yes, that is how the employee benefits are being provided. So this is the major highly influencing the labor markets. So employee benefits are not being common in all sectors, all matters. Hope you understand that. Shall I skip to next one?
Yes, ma'am.
So next one is productivity linked employee benefits. So here productivity linked employee benefits. So when we see the productivity, here there is a change in skip slides. So this is what the productivity is. First, let us know what is productivity. So from an economic point of view, productivity refers to these points of the followings, like productivity usually say we use it for performance, right? But here productivity means each factor is accountable. When it comes to a productivity of an employee, everything is matters, like in first point, land, labor, capital and organization. Here, productivity of or production value is not only evaluated by a person's efficiency, it's about all the combined things. It's about the input also. Raw materials, fuels, time, and knowledge that is being incorporated during the production. And third point is telling about overall yield of the joint factors of above and resources of above mentioned factors. This is what productivity is determined as. So production is equal to value addition to new material. So see, traditionally productivity, usually earlier it was understood as an important outcome of labor efficiency. Earlier days it was like that. So only efficient functioning of workmen could contribute to productivity improvement. That was a myth earlier it was. So functional efficiency of all factors of production is now considered the ultimate goal for overall corporate efficiency. So now productivity is considered as, which is depending on the efficiency of all factors of production. So these are the all factors of production, like land, labor, capital, organization, raw material, fuel, time, knowledge, all together we are considering it as productivity. So here given some which could be what is the transformation has happened. Earlier it was value addition to new material. Now it is, see, production is about value addition to new material. Productivity is about efficiency of production. So now let us look into the productivity linked employee benefits. Now we have got a clarity what is productivity. Till then we might have felt that it is about employee efficiency, but it is not that we are going to discuss about. The productivity already we discussed. So here productivity linked employee benefits. So if you see the developing countries like us, here three major drives of labor market scenario do exist with us, like technical advances, structural changes in economy and competitive pressures. These are driving majority of the developing countries. But what is the practice of developed countries? Developed countries always relate wages to productivity better, and they do rationalize the economics of organizations. So they are able to isolate labor cost from the total cost of the production, which is using better and more efficient scientific methods. That's what they are being called as developed countries for their practices. This helps them in keeping control to remain competitively global. So in labor intensive production process of labor is always based and performance, but this is not an easy task. The concept of productivity has received international attention with the declaration of International Year of Productivity. 1982 was declared as International Year of Productivity. So there they declared productivity is not matter of employee efficiency. So productivity was considered as an input-output relational measures. Input and output relational measures. So many of the organizations, whichever are having high labor efficiency in terms of value added in manufactures and all, these organizations are also suffering from dysfunction and being sick. So here what we can assume that even though the organization is having high labor efficiency, we cannot assure the good performance of organization. So the concept of input-output relationship. So here input has widely changed under the present circumstances, like which is confined to direct materials used for protection, that is the input, but also includes the supporting functions as abstract forms. Therefore, knowledge and ideas are also considered parts of inputs. See, in an organization, the production section actually transfers raw material into finished goods or inputs into outputs. But what is the job of other functional areas? Can you imagine without other functional areas only production unit can sustain? Definitely no. So other functional departments, though not engaged in the direct material transformation, but they provide complete supportive inputs to the production department for smooth functioning of that operations. So this is about productivity linked employee benefits. Here in India we have that's a Taylor's thesis, that means F.W. Taylor, if you do remember, while he was doing a task study. So this task study came up with a more reasonable slogan which says about human worth can be made infinitely more productive not by working harder but by working smart. This was the quotation given by Taylor. Evaluate a person's performance depending on the time that he is spending, the knowledge that he is fetching, the output that he is giving to the organization. So in India, the productivity movements that we do have and consciousness gained movement was during 1958 when National Productivity Council was established. So this National Productivity Council evaluate the productivity of the organization based on the elements. This is a regulatory body to monitor the productivity related things. So this is about productivity linked employee benefits. So next, factors to improve productivity. So after knowing about productivity, what improves productivity usually? So here we have some important factors which affects the productivity of an organization. First one is nature and quality of raw material. This is obvious. So this factor demanding about better methods to eliminate the wastage and providing the efficient handling of natural resources. That's it. So nature and quality of raw materials is the first one. Next one is basic nature of process employed. The continuity of the process where the raw material, how it is going to convert into the finished goods. That process is very important. So this factor demands that technological things should be used to the best advantage for constantly improving the processes. Utilization of machinery will give less wastage. So scientific researchers, if you see, so these researchers has to be giving the outputs of such measurements, that such processes which improve the process of basic nature of productivity. And next one is plants and equipments employed. So here plants in sense physical location of a company. So in India, the physical effort of a workman is always considerably more than other countries, if you compare with the whole world also. But technologically, it is highly uneconomical form, which is a productivity point of view for an individual to do work manually. That is, that means which could reasonably be done by mechanical department. So here plants and equipments employed is totally about machinery. Technological outdatedness is one of the most important causes of industrial inefficiency. So many industries are very sluggish in growth and development because of lack of right technology at right point of view. And next one is efficiency of plant and equipment. Having plants, equipment, and their working status is not only enough, efficiency of them is mandatory. Slightly depends on the adequacy of supply technology first of all, eagerness and action at all levels of the organization. So here information on production, information on concerned people for maximum efficiency. That is mandatory. So next, volume continuity and uniform production. So usually the standardization of product, which is resulting in longer and more economical production, which is depending upon manufacturing and marketing practices. Some customer education also necessary on these factors. So productivity doesn't mean about retrenchment, redundancy and all, but here productivity potentially increases the employment, wherein all the factors of the production is influencing. Obviously, the productivity is also will falls in. And finally, utilization of the major power. Manpower is major aspect. Manpower is very essential for any kind of the company. So it is treated as a fundamental resource. Manpower is a fundamental resource. There is a real need to see that both general planning and detailed methods of work are stand in a line in the true perspective, if you see. So it is essential to clear some misconceptions which is revolving around the productivity matters. So the utilization of manpower has to be planned. So the labor force should be involved at the planning stage for technical changes and productivity improvements. So these are the factors which improves the productivity. So with this, second unit is over.